astronaut theorists point to a curious legend concerning a tribe known as the Tuatha De Danann.
The Tuatha De Danann are probably the most important tribe or figures or group of people, if they are people, that show up in Irish mythology. The Tuatha De Danann were special.
The Tuatha De Danann were tall, they had red hair and blue or green eyes, they had magical powers.
They had very advanced weaponry and different types of what sounds like machinery. Also, they taught the high arts of civilization, and they were said to be almost like the shining ones of the biblical tradition. Could it be that the Tuatha De Danann were the descendants of the otherworldly beings described in the Sumerian tradition as the Anunnaki? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and as evidence, they point to a curious historic fact. The Tuatha De Danann, or tribe of Tanan, originally had a different name, the Tuatha De Anu.
The name means the tribe of Anu, and Anu here is the Anunnaki. It's this mysterious people who are talked about in Sumerian texts. So here we now have a connection with the Tuatha De Danann, with the Anunnaki, ancient Sumeria.
Did these Anunnaki descendants really migrate to the British Isles and ultimately build Stonehenge? And if so, could this shed light on the mystery of not only who built Stonehenge, but why? Perhaps further clues can be found by examining a startling new genetic study that indicates that almost immediately after Stonehenge was built, its builders mysteriously vanished from the earth. Harvard University, February 2018. In a groundbreaking genetic study published in the journal Nature, Harvard researchers announced a stunning discovery about ancient human DNA. It reveals that immediately after Stonehenge was built, the people who built it, the ancient inhabitants of Britain, suddenly and almost totally vanished from the British Isles. They left behind virtually no DNA in the modern British population.
What the 2018 study suggests is that the genetic signature of the Neolithic inhabitants of the British Isles, it vanishes shortly after the period in which they built Stonehenge and is largely replaced by an entirely new human culture in a very short amount of time.
The Harvard study is an absolute bombshell. An entire civilization just disappears without a trace, vanishes into thin air. It's easily the most surprising and most shocking conclusion you can imagine.
The study used a revolutionary new technique that samples DNA from ancient human bones and then compares it to the DNA of modern people in the same place. Scientists then determined what percentage of the modern population is descended from the ancient group.
So the new genetic data are really providing an example of population placement in which the genetic markers that characterize one population is almost entirely the genetic signature that characterizes another population from another.
The strange disappearance of the Stonehenge builders remains a profound historical mystery, but historians had long known that around 2500 BC, just after Stonehenge was built, a new group entered the British Isles. The so-called Beaker people are named for their distinctive clay pottery and are believed to be the ancestors of the Celts.
You might think that when the original population of Britain suddenly left these stone monuments, the newcomers would maybe just let them go back to nature and ultimately just fall down and be destroyed over time. But that's not what happened. And so it would seem that these newcomers realized that these places had power. There was an energy associated with them, something important.
everybody else in the country was living in, well, mud huts, basically.
I know, and the incredible thing about this is the descendants of these people end up creating all of the stone circles around Britain.
How do you think this started?
I think something was changing in the minds of these people, but the bigger question is, what were they doing?
Experts believe that the descendants of Skara Brae began building the great stone circles that ultimately led to Stonehenge. To see the first of these mighty circles, Andrew and Graham travel 6 miles south.
So we're going now to the Stones of Stennes, which is the first stone circle that we know of built anywhere in the British Isles. It originally consisted of 12 stones in a circle around 100 feet in diameter, and the stones are up to